Alright, good day to you all. Welcome into the Starry Academy live class for Business Law, the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, the foundation level examination. So the course we'll be treating for this live class is going to be business law. As we all know, at the foundation level, we have 4 courses to offer. We have our taxation, business law, basic financial accounting, and the last one to be the economics, principle of economics. Okay, so business law is one of the courses, so that's what we'll be taking for this live class. Okay, so the aims and objective of this course, at the end of the class, what the professional body, which is the examination body, actually spelled out that we should do in line with the new syllabus, because this class is designed with the new syllabus, which is the March 2020 syllabus. So this is a very, very comprehensive class, a comprehensive lecture. So I want you to all to follow me as we progress for the class. So at the end of the class, students should be able to identify and apply the elements of contract, applicable legal principles to different types of transactions and how they impact tax, understand revenue laws in Nigeria, modalities for interpretation and administration, as well as overview of available dispute resolution mechanism. So at the end of the course, after finishing all the topics, then this is where we should be able to explain. The students should be able to explain all these terminologies here. And so we'll begin quickly with chapter 1. And now the topic we'll be doing in chapter 1 is the concept of law. Concept of law. Okay, so we begin. The law is a set of rules enforceable by the courts, which regulates the government of the state and governs the relationship between the state and its citizens, and between one citizens and another. So law basically consists of a body of rules and regulations. These rules and regulations are usually designed to regulate human conduct in the society. So we're talking about the concept of law. They are asked us to define what law is. You have to say that what is law. So law is is a set of rules. Take note of that. Law are rules that are enforceable by courts. Please take note that if, for example, in a family setting, if the father should say, okay, my son, do not go out of this house, that is a rule. But is it enforceable by courts? No, we can't call that what. We can't call like a family, for example, maybe like a dad instructions to be a rule because it's not enforceable by courts. Every law must be enforceable by the courts, which regulates governments. It regulates the government of the state. Take note of that. Nobody is above the law. That is the principle of of the rule of law. Even the government itself is within the body of the law. So he must not go beyond the law because he's also a citizen of the country, of the state. So the law is a set of rules enforceable by the courts, which regulates the government of the state, yes, and governs the relationship between the state and its citizens. You can see that, and between one citizen and another. You can see that this definition actually made us to understand that laws are rules enforceable by the courts, which regulates the government of the state, the citizens, and the government of the state and the citizens. That's in a primary sense. So law is a set of rules enforceable by the courts, which regulates the government of the state and governs the relationship between the state and its citizens, and between one citizen to another. You can see that the law is above everyone, whether you are in government, whether you are in power, whether you are in the Senate House, whether you are the president of the World Bank. The law is supreme to everyone. So nobody is above the law. Nobody can go ultra virus. So law basically consists of body of rules, like we said earlier, that laws are rules and regulation that guides the affairs of human being, that guides human conduct. So these rules and regulations are designed to regulate human conduct in the society. So if you notice that in a society whereby there are no rules and regulation, you see that everybody just do things how they want. So you can see that in Nigeria, it is a punishable offense if anyone should go and make forgery of currency notes, for example, money. For example, some people to do fake money. So there is a law backing anybody that wants to go and produce any money. that is not recognized by law. So you can see that if there's no law in a country, everybody will just do how they want. People will just go scot-free and they will what? It will cause chaos and problem to the society. So in some way, the law is a set of rules enforceable by the courts which regulates the government of the state and governs the relationship between the state and its citizens and between one citizen and another or to another. Law basically consists of a body of rules and regulations which are designed to regulate human conduct in the society. So they are designed to regulate human conduct in the society. Alright, so we'll be talking about the nature of law, which is the next subtopic. Alright, the nature of law supposes that law is a unique social political phenomenon. When we're talking about what the nature of law, we're talking about what constitutes the body law. That is how law came into being. You can see that in the earlier ages there were no law. So how did law presume to come into existence? So the nature of law, what constitutes law itself? So the number one statement that it says that the nature of law presupposes that law is a unique social political phenomenon with more or less universal characteristics or features, and it may possess them by its very nature. You can see that law is a unique social political phenomenon with more or less universal characteristics or features, and it possesses them by its features. You can see that it's trying to tell us that law has some features has some features that makes it a unique social political phenomenon. Take note of that. So the second aspect is talking about law is also a normative social practice. So that's one of the nature or concept of law. So it purports to guide the human behavior, giving rise to reasons for action. So law gives rise to reason of action. So this is one of the nature of law, because it's a normative social practice, something they practice on a daily basis. So law in its most general and comprehensive sense signifies a rule of action and is applied indiscriminately to all kinds of action, whether animate or inanimate, rational or irrational. So what we're trying to tell you is that the law is general and comprehensive. It's a general and comprehensive rule of action and is applied to all kinds of action, whether it is animate, whether it is living things or non-living things, whether it is rational or irrational. The law is applied in all circumstances. Take note of that. Alright, so for this purpose, every law may be said to consist of several parts. So when we are talking about the nature of law, that still brought us to make us understand that law consists of several parts. So law don't just come on its own. So for law to come into existence, then it begins with declaratory. Declaratory is actually talking about whereby the rights to be observed, because of that, the rights to be observed and the wrongs are clearly defined and laid down. You can see that before a law come into existence, that is, the right thing will be laid down, will be clearly written. Everybody will have known that this thing is wrong and this thing is right. So you will know the difference between wrong and right. So everything will be clearly stated and defined. So that's declaratory. They declared the right and the wrong. So the second one is the directory, whereby the subject is instructed and enjoined to observe those rights and to abstain from commission of those wrongs. You can see that the law there will be a directory that the subject is who? The citizens. Take note of that. The subjects are who? Are the citizens. So the citizens are instructed to observe the rights and abstain from the wrongs. So that is directory. That is the second part of law. Take note of that. So the third part of law is remedial. Remedial is talking about whereby a method is pointed out to recover a man's private rights or redress his private wrong. So you can see that remedial is actually it's actually a correction stage. That you correct someone. This thing that is right is actually this is the benefits that you can achieve from engaging in such rights and to redress his private wrong. So they are talking about the actions. If you commit a right, if you engage in a right thing, this is the reward for it, and if you commit a wrong thing, then there's going to be a reward. So take note of that. So the fourth part, which is the part 4 of law, is talking about sanctions. So this states the penalty for the wrong act committed. So for every action, there's a what? For every action, there's a what? There's a judgment against it, whether it is right or wrong. Take note of that, very, very important. So for the purpose of this, every law is said to consist of the following parts. So we have the declaratory, which is talking about what? The rights to be observed are clearly stated, and the wrongs to be what? And the wrongs are also clearly stated and defined. The second part of law is talking about what? Directory, whereby the citizens are instructed to observe the rights and to abstain from what? From committing wrong acts. Okay, so the third part of law is talking about remedial, whereby a method is pointed out to recover a man's private rights or redress his private wrong. While the fourth part of law is talking about sanctions, that is, it states the penalty for the wrong act committed by who? By the subject, who is the citizens of the country. Take note of that. So the natural school of thought with respect to the nature of law can be explained in the natural law theory. So we are talking about what? We are talking about the nature of law. There are some theories that came into existence as a result of what? Explaining the nature. Take note of that. The nature of what? Of law. So some theories came into existence. So the natural law theory was actually propounded by the what? By the natural school of thought. Take note of that. So the natural school of thought actually explained the natural law theory in relation to what? To nature of law. So the natural law is actually a philosophy asserting that certain rights, take note of that, certain rights are inherent by virtue of human nature, endowed by nature. Traditionally, God can be understood universally through human reason. As determined by nature, the law of nature is implied to be universal, existing independently of the positive law of a given political order, society, or nation states. Take note of that. So what the natural school of thought is explaining in the natural law theory in respect to nature of law is actually what? Saying that there are certain rights that are inherent by virtue of human nature, that are endowed by nature. Traditionally, God can be understood, right, through human reasoning. As determined by nature, the law of nature is implied to be universal. So the law of nature what encompasses all. It's not just what? Just on one thing only. So it exists independently of the positive law of a given political order. So from mere reasoning, I just want to use this information to explain. From mere reasoning, without nobody telling you that this thing is actually wrong, you will know that stealing is actually what? Is actually a wrong act. You know, by virtue of what? Of natural law. As humans, your mind or your brain will tell you that what you are about to do is wrong, even though there is what? There are no rules or regulations guiding it. So by nature, it is human nature, it is inherent in human that what? You have to know what is right and wrong. So society, so the natural law actually exists independently, it stands on its own. So it cannot be changed. It can't be changed. Take note of that. Whereby other laws can be changed, but the natural law is what? You know, when you were given birth to in this world, you met the law, you die, you meet the law will still remain. Even generations after generation, there will be so many what? So many people to come. So the law will still what? Remain the same. So natural law exists independently of what? Of the positive law of a given political order, society, or nation. So political law is actually what? The law that is what? Made by man. So they are man-made law. Take note of that. In a given political order, for example, no more importation of rice into Nigeria, and it is signed, sealed, approved in the Senate, then it becomes what? A law. Take note of that. I hope that is very clear. So the sociological school of law. So when we are talking about the nature of law, like I said earlier, that we have some theories. So the first theory was a natural law theory, and which is propounded by the natural school of thought. While the second one is the sociological school of law. So in fundamental principle of sociology of law, Adrian H. Will developed a sociological approach to the study of law by focusing on how social networks and groups organized social lives. He explored the relationship between law and general social norms and distinguished between positive law, consisting of the compulsive norms of state requiring official enforcement, and living law, take note of that, consisting of what? Of the rules of conduct that people in fact obey and which dominate social life. So, in summary, we want to explain the sociological school of law. What the sociological school of law is actually talking about is what? It developed, there's a man called Eugene H. developed a sociological approach to the study of law by focusing on how social networks and group organize social lives. So, he did a study by focusing on how social networks and groups organize social life. So from there he was able to deduce law. He explored the relationship, take note of that, between law and general norms, take note of that, law and general social norms, and distinguish between what? The positive law. So he explored the relationship between law and the general norms and distinguish between positive law, consisting of what? Compulsive norms of the state. So positive laws are laws that what? That consist of what? Enforcement of the state. And living law consisting of what? The rules of conduct that people in fact obeyed, which dominate social life. So that's just the summary about the sociological school of law. So we've come to the end of the chapter, talking about the concept of law. Now in summary, we need to go back and explain that, like we said earlier, that law is a set of rules enforceable by the court which regulates the government of the state and its citizens. That's a summary. So law basically consists of what? Body of rules and regulations, and those rules and regulations are designed to regulate human conduct in the society. So the nature of law is that, states that what? Law is a unique social political phenomenon with more or less universal characteristics, and it's possessed them by its very nature. So like law has some characteristics that makes it a unique social phenomenon. So also, talking about nature of law, law is also a normative social practice. So like on the daily affairs, what people engage in, we can regard it as what? As a law. It purports to guide human behavior, yes, giving rise to reasons for action. So law in most and comprehensive sense signifies a rule of action and is applied indiscriminately to all kinds of action, whether animate or inanimate, rational or irrational. So for this purpose, we are talking about law consists of several parts, whereby the declaratory, whereby the rights and the wrong are clearly stated and defined, directory, whereby the citizens are instructed to enjoy the rights and abstain from the wrongs, remedial, whereby there is a method to recover a man's private rights or to redress his private wrong, and sanctions, this states the penalty for wrong acts committed. So natural school of thought in respect to nature of law can be explained in the natural law theory. And natural law theory is actually talking about that law has certain rights that are inherent by human nature, endowed by nature. That is, through human reasoning, you can be able to deduce what is right and wrong. Okay? So sociological school of law is actually talking about what? The relationship between social network and how people organize their life. So from there, we was able to establish a fact that the positive law is a law consisting of what? Compulsive norm of states requiring official enforcement, and living law consists of what? Rules of conduct that people in fact obey, which dominate social life. So the sociological school of law is actually talking about two laws, about what? The positive law and the living law. The positive law, and the next one is what? Is the living law. Take note of that, very very important. So that's the end of chapter 1 of the class. I want to say thank you for being attentive. Bye for now.